What is up, everybody? This is Rainbow, and I am doing the final installment on my guide to healing. Oh my gosh, I need to fix this. As you might be able to tell, I have not played this freaking hero in forever. You might be able to tell by her gear that she hasn't really been played since Wrath of the Lich King. This is the only character of mine that it's the only healing class. I'm actually going to turn the sound off for a second here. She's the only class that I haven't played at a rating level in for Cataclysm. I raided with my priest in a little bit in Burning Crusade and a lot in Wrath of the Lich King. She was kind of my main in Wrath of the Lich King. So priests, they are the original healers. They have a lot of healing spells. They have like a healing spell for every possible situation, it seems like. So hopefully I will be able to cover most of them. I'm focusing on the holy spec, by the way, not discipline. I might make a different video on discipline because it's so much different. Alright, so let's talk about main spells to keep active. Similar to the previous videos, Earth Shield, Life Bloom, fucking paladin spell. What is it called? Beacon of Light. So there's always these spells that you want to keep active. Oh jeez. There's also always spells that you want to keep active at all times. For the priest, it's Prayer of Mending. Fade. As you can see right there, a bunch of mobs are running at me. All I did was cast a nice simple fade. I was going free. Run away. That'll be alright. So, the biggest thing to know about is the chakras. You can switch between AoE, basically an AoE stance, and a DPS. Well, yeah, there's a DPS stance, but you don't usually switch into that one. There's an AoE stance and a single target stance. I think I can turn the sound on back now. Oh, I'm in combat. Probably this little bugger right here. But, so when you're in AoE stance, your AoE spells are obviously buffed, and your circle of healing cooldown is lowered, so it's really nice. Oh gosh, she's too far away. The tanks are just so freaking ballsy. Jesus. Sure, why not? So Prayer of Mending's really nice. Basically, whenever something takes damage, when you have Prayer of Mending on them, it activates it, does a big heal, and then Prayer of Mending bounces to someone else. So there's lots of little bits of damage going around. Like right now, there's like all this fire bouncing around. It's gonna make my Prayer of Mending bounce like crazy. Which is exactly what you want. It's just tons of healing. Right now, I'm in an early Cataclysm dungeon, so my mana really isn't a problem. I actually turned on all these health bars. I used to PvP with priest, so I've got a lot of things that I don't normally have going, but whatever, we'll deal with it. So, we got Prayer of Mending, it's bouncing around like crazy. Next I'll talk about the chakras and the Holy Word Chastise. There's a new spell called Holy Word Chastise that you get for speccing into the Holy Specialization. And this ability transforms depending on what chakra you're in. When you're in, like right now I'm in the yellow chakra, which is a single target chakra. That makes that makes my Holy Word Chastise actually turn into a big single target heal. See, it was that 35k crit heal. Keep in mind, I'm only level 81. That's a huge crit. That's a huge heal for this level. So when you turn into, so I'll turn into the AoE chakra mode. You can Holy Word Chastise actually turns into this big rune that you can place on the ground that heals in an AoE if you stand in it. It's pretty nice. Also reduces the cooldown of Circle of Healing.
Heretics! You will suffer for this interruption.
What it is, looks like we're good. So I will pop my Shadow Fiends. Oops. Let's add the boss. So, next we have a spell called Renew. It works just like Rejuvenation or Riptide or whatever. It's a heal over time. It's kind of expensive. It's pretty expensive as far as heals go. So I keep it rolling on my tank when I know my tank's going to take a lot of damage. Pretty simple to use though, not much else for me to say about it really. Next we have Circle of Healing. Circle of Healing is a spell that you don't get for a while, but once you get it, it's amazing. It's a very powerful AoE heal that it's similar to Wild Growth. It just heals everything around you for a bit. I think it heals like 5 targets or something. Yeah, 5 targets. So it heals 5 targets in your party or raid for a pretty considerable amount. And it's got a very short cooldown when you're in your AoE healing mode. Similar to the fact that Prayer of Healing Prayer of Mending rather, has a very short cooldown. Alright, so next is, I'll just keep going down the list. We've got Binding Heal. Binding Heal is this spell. It heals me and the target for the same amount, I believe. I believe it's the same amount. Yep. Heals you both for the same, so you basically just use it when you and one other person is low. It's the most mana efficient way to heal in that situation. Let's see. We have your standard heal, flash heal, greater heal. That is the same as, you know, Nourish and Regrowth and Healing Touch or Healing Wave, Healing Surge, Greater Healing Wave, Holy Light, Flash of Light, and Divine Light. Same kind of spells. They're all the same. Maybe with slight minor changes in functionality. So there's not a whole lot to say about those. You just kind of spam heal. You just want to, you know, constantly be healing. With heal, it's a very low mana cost, very easy to use, and you'll never really go out of mana just by spamming heal. And it keeps your tank nice and topped off when they're taking damage. Flash heal you use for when you really need a sudden gigantic burst of healing. It's very mana expensive, but it's good for emergencies. And Greater Heal is just a big heal, long cast, medium mana efficiency. So it won't totally you, but you will lose mana if you just spam it. But it won't you like really fast like Flash Heal though. And it heals for a lot, so it's cool. So those are those 3 main abilities. Now we're getting to the cooldown area of priest spells. There's Power Word Shield has a cooldown. It's not as good as it is for Disc, but it is still pretty good. I have the Body and Soul talent that gives it a sprint, so the person that you're shielding also has a movement speed buff. Right now I'm going to actually use Divine Hymn to show off what that ability looks like. And it's just this massive AoE healing spell. You have to channel it, and it just constantly tops off your group. So it's super good. Combine that with, you know, once that wears off, you just start spamming Prayer of Mending whenever it's off cooldown, and Circle of Healing whenever that's on. That is going to definitely take care of any AoE healing problems that you might have. Priests are very good AoE healers. Very likely the best AoE healers. So now I'm casting a spell called Prayer of Healing. It's just a long cast time. I consider it almost like an AoE greater heal. And it radiates out of the person that you're using it on. So, that is very good, but it's very high mana costs, so beware. There goes that boss. Alright, so next we have Divine Hymn, or Hymn of Hope. I put these two together, Divine Hymn and Hymn of Hope. It very much reminds me of, like, it seems like every class has one of these spells now. Basically, Divine Hymn is Hymn of Hope is your mana regeneration spell. Divine Hymn is your AoE gigantic healing spell. And like, basically I think of Hymn of Hope kind of like Mana Tide Totem, and Divine Hymn is like Healing Tide Totem, that kind of thing. Or Tranquility and Innervate, that kind of thing. And Guardian Mage of Kings, and that one ability that gives you lots of mana from Paladins. I don't know why I can't remember Paladin spell names. It hasn't been that long since I played my Paladin. Oh jeez, meteors. Okay. Priests are so good at AoE healing, it's insane. Like, I'm not even in my AoE stance. Now I'm in my AoE stance. Which will ever be hurt again. There's a lot of AoE damage going on. And that's just kind of something you need to be aware of when you play a priest, is you have to keep track of where the damage is going. There's Hymn of Hope. It's an AoE mana return for your team. And it also gives a nice little temporary 15% additional maximum mana. So at the end of a boss fight, when everybody's really low on mana and they just need that extra bit to get them through the fight, Hymn of Hope is really nice. So we got Shadow Fiend, or Mindbender, depending on what talent you chose. If you choose this Mindbender talent, it turns your Shadow Fiend into a Mindbender, and it just does more damage. So basically it's just, Mindbender is just a nice mana return spell, plus does a good amount of damage. Here, I'll use it on this creature. See, there he is. It's just flies up there and just starts attacking things. It gives me mana. Gives me about 300 mana for every hit, and he's about to die. He just died. It's very squishy. So that's all that does, really. We have a spell called Mass Dispel. It's a gigantic AoE dispel ability. It's close. I had to switch right there. I actually switched to single target chakra and used Holy Word Chastise. That is pretty much the fastest way to get first healing in. Because Holy Word Serenity is probably your biggest lifesaver spell for one person, which is why it's in the single target tree. Holy. So yeah, Mass Dispel. It also dispels immunities in PvP, in case you don't know.